Today we will be discussing Jon Snow as my historical figure and his contribution to public health, in which he was famous for communicable infectious disease. I will then describe how his work was a contribution to the public health system. I will be discussing how his past contribution helps to continue to shape the public health system of today. I will also be discussing how God's future work within the healthcare industry, along with what and how it affects society today. And also, I will be stating, hold on for a moment. I will also be stating what happened as a result of this contribution on a national and a community level. Okay, I'll be talking about how it did change attitudes, protocols, policies, behavior change, did eliminate laws, and also how it's relevant today, how it's applied to healthcare today. Could it support or be expanded for future community and public health benefits, etc. Okay. Jon Snow biography background includes him living in southern London, to my understanding. His birthday is March 15, 1813. He was a British physician. Jon Snow was one of the first epidemiologists showed that cholera came from water, in which debunked the popular Maxima theory. Jon Snow was talented in mathematics. When he was 14, he had a medical apprenticeship in William Hardcastle, Newcastle. Upon time, Jon Snow's experience with Hardcastle exposed him to cholera patients for the first time, in which the outbreak came in Killingworth in 1832. Jon Snow continued to study, in which he became certified as a physician, and he received an invite to join the Westminster Medical Society, in which there he became president of the Royal College of Physicians and the London Epidemiological Royal College of Physicians and London Epidemiological. He became a president there. Okay? The society in which he was a member also of there. Jon Snow studied anesthesiology, in which he made inhalers and designed them in his own way so that there would be a less risk of someone making a mistake or overdosing. He even measured chloroform to Queen Victoria during her labor. Jon Snow's contribution was that he discovered the outbreak of cholera, in which took place during the mid-19th century, in which it was a cholera epidemic. He discovered this on Broad Street in Golden Square, London, in which contributed from contaminated water supplies. He basically mapped it out, the London location of instances of the disease, and tabulating fatalities, and did an observational study on it. He lived in Soho, the area which was in question. The work was welcome because it was 500 deaths from this time period. There was contaminated water, which describes the kind of environment in which these people were living in. There were others that believed otherwise, saying that the cholera was popular Maxima theory. This is a time before modern technology, so they knew little about cholera and where it came from. He also wrote a pamphlet stating that cholera was a digestive disease in which the symptoms were diarrhea and vomiting. Jon Snow, where he lived, a lot of individuals died from around the area in which he lived, and a total of 500 died. And he wanted to know what caused their deaths and how that is why he got involved. He did have alleys, doctors in which thought that it was on a condition of the blood. And he proved that it wasn't based on where the people lived at in the communities and where they draw their water supply from. An example, he stated that two different areas of housing were drawing their water supply from two totally different areas, and that one was drawing it from a more contaminated area farther down than the other, and made individuals in the area sick. He proved that the pump on Broad Street was contaminated and more colder than others. It had more carbon than other pumps. He did succeed with his actions in proving to them that the workers across the street seldom used the pump, and others that walked to school or work did, and they all got sick. What occurred was because of this discovery, they changed the pump handle and digged around the pump and found that it was linked to a cesspool in which was contaminated in front of the area where the people lived, and the evidence in which was statistical embraced the medical community to embrace his conclusions. The discovery gave society the ability to prevent the disease from spreading. Snow's work changed the approach to health and medicine and made cholera the single worst epidemic in the 19th century. Also, cholera. Colorful moment. Oh. Also, cholera did change attitudes due to the fact that the people, like the president and others that were there at that present time, and even now, these people think that cholera, and they know now that cholera exists because of him finding cholera in the past and how it contaminated the water around certain areas in the community. And also, that is the way they found out that cholera was an epidemic due to John Snow findings of cholera. So it did change people's attitudes, change other doctors, physicians' attitudes as well. It did change protocols and policies. So now they know that it comes from water, contaminated water. People do not live around contaminated water anymore due to those findings. The findings are not contaminated. The water that people live in is fresh, more suitable water than other areas. For example, if you had a building community, you would not want them to live in such an area with contaminated water running into the buildings of the community homes, and how the people there will have to use the water, which would become and lead to other diseases as well. That's just like an example in Africa, people don't have clean water, etc., etc. Okay, which leads to other diseases, humane diseases. Okay, now, it also changed behaviors in which how people thought about Jon Snow. They thought that he did not know what he was talking about, basically, and that his findings were kind of off due to the fact that the pump that he was referring to, people didn't use that much. Certain people did, and some others did. Like the children that would walk to work, and the adults that would walk to work. What? This motherfucker, whoever this bitch is, just comment on this. Okay. The others that walked to work, I'm so sorry. The others that walked to work, they were walked to work, and they ended other places other than the people across the street, because the people across the street did not, however, use the pump because they was drinking beer, to my understanding. And It changed protocols and policies today in which people do not want to build communities around infected water. It did change behavior today as well, how people see dirty, contaminated water. Again, they do not want to use dirty, contaminated water. Okay? It did add more laws, and because the fact, like clean water laws, we have today, we have clean water laws in which it's illegal to have humans drink contaminated water or even to live around contaminated water. It's bad for the future of the animals that live in the water. We are not allowed to throw items into the water of lakes and rivers and streams, as in it will hurt the fish or whatever it is in the water, the animals of the river, whatever. So that is a law, that we're not allowed to contaminate the water ourselves, nor we are allowed to let others do so. And if we are caught, or if someone is caught contaminating water, they will be arrested if they catch you throwing or dumping sewage off in a lake or river nearby stream where someone lives, like a community building, and there's a water stream or a river there. Like, as an example, I live around the Oconee River. If someone's caught dumping trash into the river, then they will be arrested. That's contamination as well. Not only that the water is dirty, it'll become dirty if it's not dirty, but you know. That's pretty much it. His contribution was capable at the time, and also it was capable today. People do not like contaminated water. Again, you cannot go around contaminating water. It is very, very hard for people to clean rivers and lakes and streams for our individuals that do clean the rivers, lakes, and streams. That's why we would prefer to people to not contaminate our water, okay? And also, the historical value of this contribution is he found cholera that was making everyone sick in the neighborhood in which he lived. He found out where it was coming from. People was having diarrhea. People was having other diseases. And basically, the diarrhea and the vomiting came from this pump, this one particular pump in the neighborhood. So, therefore, that was his contribution. Finding out where it came from and what it was, etc. Okay? And it could be used for the future due to the fact that now we know what cholera is, and we also know how to protect ourselves from cholera. At this time, people are now more knowledgeable of the fact of cholera due to his findings. And they know what's causing it, how to get rid of it, what medicines to take due to the fact that they have cholera, if they ever get it, etc. And now it's not something that they know is not catchable. It's not something that can, spread. It just comes from dirty, contaminated water. And people know that now. So that's not an issue anymore due to the findings of John Snell. Okay? And that's how it helps in future health issues. Which leads now to a policy change in how they do support people who catch cholera. They know how to protect them from it. That's how it affects the public health laws. And that's basically it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Bye-bye.